ਓਕੇ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਚੱਕਰ ਚਿਹਨ ਅਰ ਬਰਨ ਜਾਤ ਅਰ ਪਾਤ ਨਹਿਨ ਜੇਹ ਰੂਪ ਰੰਗ ਅਰ ਰੇਖ ਪੇਖ ਕਉ ਕਹਿ ਨਾ ਸਕਤ ਕੀਹ ਅਚਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਨਪੋ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਅਮਿਤੋਜ ਕਹਿਜੈ ਕੋਟ ਇੰਦਰ ਇੰਦਰਾਨ ਸਾਹੇ ਸਾਹਾਨ ਗਨਿਚੈ ਤ੍ਰਿਪਵਨ ਮਹੀਪ ਸੁਰ ਨਰ ਅਸੁਰ ਨੇਤ ਨੇਤ ਬਨ ਤ੍ਰਿਨ ਕਹਿਤ ਤੋਐ ਸਰਬ ਨਾਮ ਕਥੈ ਕਵਨ ਕਰਮ ਨਾਮ ਬਰਨਤ ਸਮਤ ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਖੜਗ ਕੋ ਕਰੋ ਸੋਹਿਤ ਚਿਤ ਲਾਏ ਪੂਰਨ ਕਰੋ ਗਿਰੰਥ ਏਹ ਤੁਮ ਮੋਹਿ ਕਰੋ ਸਹਾਏ ਮੂਕ ਉਚਰੈ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਖਟ ਪਿੰਗ ਗਿਰਨ ਚੜ ਜਾਏ ਆਨੰਦ ਲਖੈ ਬਦਰੋ ਸੁਨੈ ਜੋ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਾਏ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਸਿੰਧ ਤੁਮਰੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਜੋ ਕਛ ਮੋਹ ਪਰ ਹੋਏ ਰਚੋ ਚੰਡਿਕਾ ਕੀ ਕਥਾ ਬਾਣੀ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਸਭ ਹੋਏ ਨਾਹੋ ਜਤੀ ਸਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜਿਆ ਮੂਰਖ ਮੁਗਦਾ ਜਨਮ ਪਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਣਵਤ ਨਾਨਕ ਤਿਨ ਕੀ ਸਰਣਾ ਜਿਨ ਤੂ ਨਾਹੀ ਵੀਸਰਿਆ ਜਪ ਤਪ ਸੰਜਮ ਧਰਮ ਨਾ ਕਮਾਇਆ ਸੇਵਾ ਸਾਧਨਾ ਜਾਣਿਆ ਹਰ ਰਾਇਆ ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਮ ਨੀਚ ਕਰਮਾ ਸਰਣ ਪਰੇ ਕੀ ਰਾਖੋ ਸਰਮਾ ਕਹਾਂ ਬੁੱਧ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੁਛ ਹਮਾਰੀ ਬਰਨ ਸਕੈ ਮਹਿਮਾ ਜੋ ਤਿਹਾਰੀ ਹਮ ਨਾ ਸਕਤ ਕਰ ਸਿਫਤ ਤੁਮਾਰੀ ਆਪ ਲਿਹੋ ਤੁਮ ਕਥਾ ਸੁਧਾਰੀ ਹਮ ਨਾ ਸਕਤ ਕਰ ਸਿਫਤ ਤੁਮਾਰੀ ਆਪ ਲਿਹੋ ਤੁਮ ਕਥਾ ਸੁਧਾਰੀ ਜੀ।
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਨਮੋ ਸਰਬ ਖਾਪੇ ਨਮੋ ਸਰਬ ਥਾਪੇ ਨਮੋ ਸਰਬ ਕਾਲੇ ਨਮੋ ਸਰਬ ਪਾਲੇ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਅਪਾਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੋਈ ਜੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਨਿੱਘੀ ਗੋਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਅਲਾਹੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਜਾਪ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਕਥਾ ਵਿਚਾਰਾਂ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। We're very blessed to be sitting in the darbar of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, going through Sri Jaap Sahib. ਪਿਛਲੇ ਦਰਬਾਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ 20 ਪੌੜੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਸੀ. In the last darbars, the 20 paudis of the first Bhujang Prayaat Chhand have been completed. Today we'll be looking at the very 21st paudi, Namastasta Deva, starting from there. अब आज ਉਹ ਕਥਾ ਵਿਚਾਰਾ ਸੁਣेंगे। ਸੋ ਆਓ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਮਨ ਬਿਰਤੀਆਂ ਇਕਾਗਰ ਕਰੀਏ। Let's take our focus and our consciousness and put it on the feet, the lotus feet of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. ਤੇ ਆਖੀਏ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ।
ਨਮਸਤਸਤ ਦੇਵਾ।
ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇਵੈ ਰੂਪ ਹੋ। Deva. The word Dev comes from the root word Divya in Sanskrit. Words that we use for Diva, Devta, or Dev, they all have a common root. As with any language, the root word brings out the meaning of the word that's being used in the current tense. Without knowing the root of any word, it is hard to come up with a proper definition. And that's how definitions are made. If you look at the different koshes, kosh means dictionaries, then we will find that oftentimes the root of the word is given from what language it pertains to. If the root language is not known, it becomes very difficult to bring out the earth, the meaning of the word that we're looking at. Das was recently watching a documentary on the language that Jesus Christ spoke. They say that the language that Jesus Christ spoke is a language that is now considered a dead language, as in there's not many people in the world that speak this language. In the documentary, they went through one place in Syria that spoke that language, and just a few people, there was a few teachers there. What I learned was that if a language becomes dead, especially the root language, then all writings associated with that language lose its fragrance. They lose the fragrance because you're basing your work off of a translation of another translation of another translation. For example, if we look at a certain text that's in English and the root language was Arabic, someone translated Arabic to Farsi, to Persian, then someone translated Persian to maybe Urdu, then someone translated that Urdu sentence to maybe Hindi, and then someone came along, took that Hindi and made it to English. You lost so much potential along the way. That's why focusing on the root word is very important. Guru Sahib says, Namastasta Deva. We went through the word Namastast in the previous sessions. Namastast is a word that breaks up into three parts. Namas meaning namaskar, to bow down, the act of devotion. The to in the middle means tanu, to you. And then ast at the very end means hai or hove. Ki namaskar tanu hove, jo namaskar tanu hai. I bow down to you. Then Guru Sahib looks at one particular quality, they zoom in and they say Deva, Divya. Divya means light, prakash, ujalta, roshni. Divya means that energy that sparks light. From that root word now you have Diva, a candle. From that root word you have Devta, a angelic being. You have Prakash. Sache Pasha, you are Deva, you are the light of all of the sansar. You are the light of every single being in this world. You are that light that lets us shine today. Without that light, this body is nothing. Everything in that works in our body is all powered by that light. The whole Shakti that this body has, the energy that this body has, it all comes from this one source. The Atma, which we call it. Paramatma, which we call it. the light, which we can call it. From there on, everything else comes. Then people say, well, so what are you trying to say? Is this body, what is this body then? Well, this body is called Jada Roop. There's two things. There's Jad and there's Chetan. And these are two words I need you to understand. Chetan means that being or that item that is conscious. Chetan means consciousness. Conscious means that they know who they are and they know everything around it. For example, in my hands, I have this plastic lens cap. This is not Chetan. This is not conscious. It does not know that it's a lens cap. And it does not know that I am holding it, the person holding it is a human being. It does not have any awareness. Therefore, it is Jad. Jadaroop means the one that does not know itself and does not know anything around it. Chetan means the person who knows themselves and knows the things and items around it. For example, a human being is Chetan. They have consciousness. Why? Because the human knows that I am a human and everything around me is different objects or different people or different things. Chetan and Jad. Chetan means consciousness, Jad means a lack of consciousness. Now, the body is actually Jad. The human body is Jad. And I want you to follow along for a second. Why is this human body Jad? Well, because when the light retracts, when the Atma leaves, when the soul leaves the body, then the body just sits there. It does not have the ability to think, to act, to perform any kind of physical or mental capabilities. So if the body is Jad, then the question comes, what about our mind? The ability to think. What is this? Our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts. These are actually Jad Roop as well. The mind itself is Jad. Jada Man, Bodh, Chit, Hankar, this whole thing, this whole pasara, this whole collection is actually Jad Roop. There's no Chetita there. The Chetanta comes from behind, from the Atma. Namastas Deva, Sache Pasha, Aap ji nu Akal Purkh Vaheguru ji, Aap ji nu Namaskar hai. Why? Because you are the light that powers everything that I can see. You are the light behind these eyes. You are the light behind these ears. You are the light behind my mind. This is why I bow down to you. He Akal Purkh Vaheguru ji, Aap ji nu Namaskar hai, Aap ji Divya Roop ho.
Namastang Abheva.
Apeva. Peva Satsanga ji comes from the word Ped. Ped means antar, fark, a difference. That's called Ped. For example, if I were to say, okay, from this hand and in this hand, from my two hands, is there any Ped? Is there any difference? And you could say, maybe yes. Maybe this hand has some different type of lines, this hand doesn't. Maybe this hand has a cut, this hand doesn't. There's a difference, there's a Ped. But in the body of Akal Purkh Vaheguru ji, from head to toe, there is no difference. Apeva. There is no difference. That means that they are a singular roop. They are a singular form. A form that is not divided like maybe our form is divided. Maybe our mind is divided. Maybe our thoughts are divided. Maybe our feelings are divided. How much emotions we put into one task differs from how much emotions we might put into a different task. How much priority we put into one task might differ than how much priority we put into a different task. But Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji, they're apeva. They cannot differentiate. That's the difference between us and them, is we differentiate. We say our community and their community. We say our people and their people. We say our friends and their friends. But Vaheguru Ji, you are a friend to all. You are a relative to all. You are a friend to all. Therefore, you are a peva. Now, this word pev can also mean one more thing. Tatpraj. This is a very important word. Tatpraj. Now, what does Tatpraj mean? I'm going to attempt to open it up. Tatpraj. Tatpraj means the ability to explain something. Not only to explain something, but on the other end, the ability to have that explanation reach the other person's heart. That's called Tatpraj. For example, you might have heard a concept of Sikhi explained by one person. And it might have went over your head. But then somehow, maybe you heard the same topic by a different person and it actually hits your heart. And the reason could be is this concept of Tatpraj. Pandit Gulab Singh, a Sikh scholar of the 18th century, explains this word. And I would like to share that with you. They explain the word Tatpraj. They say, Vakya arth ke janan ki ahe yogta joe, jo vakya arth nu janan vaste yog hai. So I'm going to explain that in English. The person who is eligible. So there's two criteria here. There's two criteria, and we're going through the word apeva. So this is not off topic, this is in the topic. There's two parts to this concept. One is the receiver and one is the giver. The receiver, the listener, and then the giver, the speaker. There must be a connection made between the two. And what is that connection? That connection is called Tatpar or Peva. When the listener becomes yog means eligible. When they become adhikari of the gyan they're about to receive. That's the first step. Sometimes the time is not right for us to receive a certain type of knowledge. So it might go over our heads. That's one thing. Second thing is that sometimes the time is not right for to receive a certain knowledge. We don't even come in contact with it. People say, I went through 20 years of my life without even knowing what Sikhi was. Because the time was not right. When the time becomes right, you become yog. You become eligible. You become adhikari of receiving the gyan. That's step one. Now step two is that the person who is explaining that knowledge to you, vakya arth ke janan ki, that they are able to explain that knowledge to you. As in, like, when those words leave their mouth, they strike your heart. Tat paraj punavak me kaha vedanti soe. Inu tat paraj kande, inu peva kande. This is what's called peva. When a being, a speaker, a giver is able to give a certain type of knowledge to the receiver, to the listener, and A, the time is right, and B, the giver is able to connect to the heart. Namaskar Aap Ji nu Maharaj, you do this in that way. You give us gyan in that way, you give us your knowledge in that way, where everything you say hits our heart. Sache Pasha, when that time is right, Tanna so vela, Maharaj says that vela, that time is blessed. Tanna. Tan so vela chit darshan karna. That vela is blessed when I get to see your darshan. That time is blessed when I'm able to hear your Gurbani and actually feel it. and actually understand it. Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj bows down to that Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji, who does this act. Namastang apiva.
Namastang janmi.
हे अकाल पुरख वाहिगुरू जी तुसी जन्म तो रहत हो अजन्मे जन्म तो रहत without birth you don't come into any birth ਅਜੂਨੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਮੂਲ ਮੰਤਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਰਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਜੂਨੀ you are outside the ਜੂਨ ਰਹਿਤ ਅਬ ਅਜਨਮੇ ਅਜਨਮੇ you can also break the word into half ਅਜਨਮੇ Aj means devte like Brahma ji. Maharaj, namme means namaskar. Maharaj ji ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਦੇਵਤੇ ਵੀ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ.
Namastang saban mein.
Ban mein. Ban means a jungle. For example, we hear Guru Tegh Bahadurji Ji Maharaj's Bani. They say, Kahe re ban khoj na jai. Why do you go into the jungles? Why do you go looking for me in the jungles, they say. But here Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj is saying, So ban me. So meaning, oh, that Prabhu, that Parmeshwar, that God, ban me. Me means within. That Parmeshwar Vaheguru Ji is within the jungle. What could it mean here? Jungle refers to the Vishalta of Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji. Vishal means the deepness, the depths, the untouchable depths. Vaheguru Ji, you're so Vishal, you're so great, you're so vast. Just like a forest, just like a jungle. There's no end to some jungles. In the same way, Vaheguru Ji, there's no end to you. Namaskar aap ji nu, aap ji Vishtar roop vich ho.
Namo sarva gaune.
Gaune. Sad Sangat ji, in Sanskrit, Gaune means to travel. It means to travel, Gaunan karna, Gaman karna, we say in Sanskrit. Maharaj ji, Namo sarva gaune. Namo means namaskar, Sarva means all. Everyone travels to you. Everyone tries to look for you. Ek man vich this khayal just came to my mind about Bhai Gurdas ji. They talk about going to Vaheguru Ji even in a dream. They say, Supanna charitar chittar, Banak bane bachittar, Pavan pavitr mittar, Aaj more aaye hai. They said, I fell asleep, Bhai Gurdas ji says. And in that sleep, I dreamt something. What did I dream? I dreamed that you came to me, Vaheguru Ji. Hey Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, you came to my dreams. Supanna charitar chittar. Your form, your image came to me. And this is one type of darshan. There's 4 types of darshan, Satsangat Ji. Ek Sravan darshan hunda. Sravan darshan means to have the darshan of Vaheguru Ji or Guru Sahib through your ears by listening to their Katha, listening to their Bani, listening to their Sakhiyan. Is ek Sravan darshan hunda. Ek Pratak darshan hunda. There's one Pratak. Pratak darshan means visible, fully visible. For example, when we do darshan of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, when we do darshan of the Sad Sangh, that's physical. Pratak darshan. ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਸੁਪਨ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ. ਸੁਪਨ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ. Supan means a dream, a supna. When you have darshan of Guru Sahib within a dream. ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚੌਥਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਚਰਿਤਰ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ. Charitra means an image. For example, a painting of Guru Sahib we see sometimes. Maybe a movie that's made. Maybe some pictures that we see on Instagram. Those are called Charitra darshan. Seeing the darshan of Guru Sahib in an image. Supan darshan. If you have a dream of Guru Sahib, that's considered darshan as well. For example, there's a pankti in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Supna ubi pai. Kande, in the supna, when I was dreaming, Ubi pai. Ubi means I've been taken up. मैं ऊंची होगी. I was lifted up to your house, to Sachkhand. Supana ubi pai. What happened? When I saw you, I was so embasmed. I was in such a state of bliss that I forgot how to act. Geheo ki na anchila. Geheo means to grab hold. Gone. Gone also means to travel, gaman karna, but gone also means to grab. Why did I not grab you? Geheo ki na anchila. Why did I not grab your chola? Why did I not grab your hems, your robes? Sundar purkh birajit pekh man banchala. You were so beautiful that I just came in the state of wonderfulness, of bismad. I came into the state where I just didn't know how to think anymore. Bhai Gurdas says the same thing. They say Supan Charitar Chitar, Banaka Bane Bachatar, Pavana Pavitra Mitar, Aaj More Aaye hai, ki my pure friend, Pavana Bane Mitar, my pure friend, they came into my dreams today. And I was not able to grab you. I was not able to take you out of the dream. The whole world is going, the whole world is trying to travel to Vaigurji in their own ways. Someone goes through all the Tirth Yatras in India. Someone goes through Hajj in Arab Desh. Someone goes to maybe Jerusalem. Everyone goes to a different place, a different shrine. Why? They're looking for Vaiguruji. They're trying to find Vaiguruji. Even people who say they're atheists, they don't believe in God, even they're trying to look for Vaiguruji themselves. They're trying to look for happiness. They're trying to find their own selves. Is that not true? They're trying to find who they are. And who do we believe that we are? We say we are the soul. And we say the soul is Paramatma's Roop. So therefore they're trying to find Paramatma as well. इस करके नमो सर्वगौने अकाल पुरख जी महाराज आप जी नमस्कार सारे आप जी वल जा रहे ਹਨ
नमो सर्व पौने.
Paune. Paune means pavan. Pavan means world. For example, that Pankti we shared with Aapji last time. Sarab pavan ke Nayaka. Sarab means all, pavan means world. Nayaka means hero, the hero of all worlds, the superstar of all worlds. Ek chin darsh dikhaye ji. Please bless me with your darshan for even 1 second. Namo Sarab Paune. Sache Pasha, Namaskar Aapji nu. You are present in all the worlds. Not just this world, in all the worlds. People say, is there any life out there? Well, if Vaiguruji is there, then there is life. If Vaiguruji is out in those worlds, then won't there be any life? We say that Vaiguruji is light, and from the light comes all of creation, from light comes all of everything. Then maybe we just don't have the eyes to find life. But life is everywhere, here and there. Life is in places that we cannot even reach. Just because we don't know about it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. ਇਹ ਬੜੀ ਹੈਰਾਨੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਲੋਕੀ ਥਾਪੜਾ ਪਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਸੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ. That is the strangest thing to me, that if people say, I haven't seen it, so it must not be true. ਕਿ ਤੂੰ ਰੱਬ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਮਤਲਬ ਸੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. It's pretty weird to me that how can someone have so much confidence in saying that if I haven't seen it, it must not exist. Could there not be something outside of your sphere of knowledge? Could there not be anything outside of that boundaries that we know of? The humble being says, there must be so much more than I can ever understand, than I can ever fathom, that I can even think of. Namo Sarab Paune, Sache Pasha, Aap ji sare pavana vich. You are present in all the worlds, in all the galaxies, in all the universes.
Namo Sarab Range.
Rang. One definition of rang is color. Another definition of rang is prem, pyar. The highest form of pyar, the highest way of connecting to Guru Sahib is connecting to his Gursikhs. The highest way of falling in love with the Guru, falling in love with Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji, falling in love with God, is to fall in love with their followers, with their devotees. Bhai Gurdas Ji, they take an analogy. They take an analogy of the fruit. And they describe a comparison. They say, on one side, I'll tell you what the fruit is of feeding a Gursikh, what the fruit is of serving a Gursikh. And I'll compare it to a tree. They say, Tarti biyo bijaye sahas falaya. They said, if you plant a seed into the land, for example, let's take the mango tree. If you plant a mango seed into the soil, sahas falaya, you'll definitely have a mango tree that comes out, and each branch will have mangoes everywhere. And over the course of time, you'll have thousands of mangoes that came from one tree. That's pretty big. You plant one seed, right? And you get thousands of mangoes in return. Then they say, Gursikh mukh pavai na lekh likhaya. If you were to take one seed or one morsel of food, one grain, and put into the mouth of a Gursikh, what happens then? So they're saying that if you put one seed into the tarti, what do you get out of that? And if you put one seed into the mouth of a Gursikh, what do you get out of that? So they're comparing the two. They said, na lekh likhaya. First of all, koi lekh likhe nahi jande. As in the mind of the Gursikh, they don't do a lekha that you gave me one seed, so I'm going to have to give you one back. Or you gave me one seed that equivalents to $100, I'm going to give you $100. You gave me one thing and I'm going to find the balance of that to give it back to you. They don't do a lekha of that. Tarti de phalaye joi phala paya. Whatever seed you put into the tarti, you're going to get that back. So if you put a mango seed in, you're going to get a mango tree. You're not going to get apples or oranges or peaches or kiwis or dragon fruits. Whatever seed you put in, that's the fruit tree you'll get back. But Gurmukh mukh samay sab phal phaya. But if you put a seed into the Gurmukh's mouth, you get all the phals back. You get all the phals back. From one seed, you get a bunch of mangoes. But one seed in the mouth of a Gursikh, you get all the phals, all the blessings. And you don't get a certain count. You don't get just 1,000 or a million. You get na lekh likhaya. There's no count to how much you'll get back. Bije baj na khaye na tart jamaya. Gursikh chit vasai ich pujaya. If the Gursikh keeps you in their chit, if the Gursikh falls in love with you, ich pujaya, all your desires will be fulfilled. That's the mahanta of doing seva of a Gursikh. We say Namo Sarbarange, Sache Pasha, to Sare and the praying with you. But if someone wants to connect with you, someone wants to love you, they should serve and love the Gursikhs. Through loving the Gursikhs, they'll fall in love with you.
Namo Sarab Pange.
Maharaj ji, aap ji Sarv Pange Roop ho. Pang means destroy. You're destroyer of all. Tusi dushta da naas kar de ho. When we're in bad times, we do Ardas, Maharaj, sadi raksha karo. Save me. And when we say save me, for the person that's after us, ora ki hoega, ora pe nash hi hoega. People say कि चौपाई साहब हमरी करो हाथ ते रक्षा पूर्ण हो चित की इच्छा तब चरणन में रहे हमारा अपना जान करो प्रतिपारा. They say over there Maharaj asks for the death of their enemies. How could that be Gurmat. Ajkal da Shankar, this is a doubt of people today. They say, how could that be Gurmat? Well, they forgot to read Guru Granth Sahib Ji. When Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj is going to be attacked by Sulhi Khan, Sulhi Khan was appointed by Prithi Chand to go attack Guru Arjan Dev Ji. When Sulhi Khan is on the way, the Gursikhs come together and they ask Maharaj, Ki Maharaj, what should we do? Ki kar sakde hain apan? How do we protect ourselves? Should we write a letter to the government? Should we maybe pick up arms? Should we do X, Y, and Z? And Guru Sahib says, मैं सब कुछ छोड़ प्रभु तू ही ते आया. That I left everything behind and I just meditated on you. I pulled up the Shabad here. Prathme mata je patri chalavo. It's by Shabad by Guru Arjan Dev describing that moment of time when an enemy is coming to their doorsteps. They said, Prathme, firstly, someone advised me, why don't you write a letter to the government? Sarkar no, just write a letter to Jahangir. Keh do ke, we're going through a hard time, protect us, give us your support. Give us, police protection. Dutiye mata doye manak pahunchavo. And another person said, Guru Sahib Ji, why don't you send 2 people to face Sulhi Khan, try and talk him out of it? Tritiye mata kich karo upaya. And Guru Sahib, then a Guru Sikh said, the third solution Guruji said I was faced with was, why don't you pick up arms and fight back? And Guru Sahib said, Main sab kuch chhod prabh tu hi te aaya. I didn't do any of those. Bas main tanu te aaya, Maharaj. I started doing Simran. Maha Anand Achint Sahajaya. They said I became beyond peace. Why? Dushmana doot muye sukh paya. Jab dushman si Sulhi, wo mar gaya. When Sulhi Khan was on the way to Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj on his horse, he got drunk. And when he got drunk, wo ek patte vich pa gaya. He fell inside a furnace on the way to where jithe itta bandi hundiyan, where bricks are made. He fell inside of that and he burnt. So Guru Sahib says, Dushman doot muye. Muye means marna, to die. Then my dushman, my enemy, has died. Sukh paya, and I have received sukh. Satgur moko diya upadesh, jiyo pind sab har ka desh. So, point being is that Guru Granth Sahib Ji was ਇਹ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ kills the enemies. And ਇੱਕ ਭਗਤ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਸਰਬ ਭੰਗੇ ਹੋ, you have the power to destroy. ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਅਵਗੁਣ ਮਾਰੋ, ਸਾਡੇ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਣ ਨੂੰ ਦੂਰ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਐਸੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੋ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਵਿਸ਼ਰਾਮ ਦੇਂਗੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਲਿਹਾਜ਼ ਵਾਸਤੇ। ਅਖੀਰਲੀਆਂ 2 ਪੰਕਤੀਆਂ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਰਸਨਾ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ਰਵਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਏਂਗੇ ਜੀ।
नमो सर्व गौने नमो सर्व पौने नमो सर्व रंगे नमो सर्व पंगे।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ।